We are focused on the alienation of the butterbee. Alienation is means of the essence of human was be deprived by something and make people more and more strange with themselves and their life. It is obviously in manufacturing industry in 18th century. Mechanized manufacturing makes the production be more object to people, so that people to be alienated with the item they produce, and think that it is no any relation with themselves, and it even has some power outside the human nature, because above reason, people was alienated from the origin one. The alienation is very obvious in the following four aspects. First is product of labor, because people think the item they produce was belong to other capitalists. They didn't have any power to dominate. The second is production of alienation. Work become alienation that can satisfy with their inner design, because their work is subject to capitalist command. Work is just a method of life rather than the dream or goal of their life they pursue. Third is human nature and space being, because the alienation of above two aspects. The produce process makes people alienate with the origin human nature. And last but not least is the alienation of companion, because the capitalism makes the social relationship become market relationship. The worth of people was evaluated by the level in market rather than the essence of human. Their life full of comparison and benefit lost the genuine interact of people. Next page. We think the alienation about Bartleby the Scrivener can relate to its writing background. Bartleby the Scrivener is written in 1853 year. The background characteristic of times is after the first industrial revolution. The production became mechanized manufacturing, so that the society was capitalizing and the capitalism prevails in society. The capitalists exploit the labor, resulting in a serious alienation in the society. Next page.
Now it's my turn to share the reference with Bartleby. The reference that it means that some works or pieces which is consistent with the concept. And first one is the research, and the title is Alienation Influence on Police. And the study examined the impact of perceived community alienation on levels of self-reported mastery and motivation for proactive law enforcement for 272 police officers from 11 law enforcement agencies in large Southwest countries. Also, it investigates the impact of three highly publicized anti-police judicial verdicts on repeated alienation mastery proactive enforcement relationship. Results support the study major hypothesis that As officers' perceived level of alienation increases, they will report less mystery and express less willingness for proactive enforcement effort. One regression model confirms the study second, hypothesizes that the inverse relationship between alienation and motivation for proactive enforcement increased significantly following the anti-policy judicial verdict. Next page. And now I want to share the novel, which names Carol, and is written by Pechka, and this is a story about a lonely woman and to be significant. Namely, the lonely woman is a high elite, and about her boring routine life and indifferent social life. She want to seek an opportunity to be evoked patience and love. The story is about the woman want to seek a patience and love. Next page. And the last I want to share is Less Miserable, and it's written by Hugo. I guess most one will have ever heard it, and it's been written in 1841. And I want to share some experience from the writer. The writer says this experience inspired him to write the novel, and the experience is also related with alienation. And the writer says one day he used a short part of his dialogue with the police when recounting villagers' rescue of Fantine in the novel. And on 1846, when he had begun work on the novel, he witnessed the arrest of a brave while a Douglas and her child watched the scene pitilessly from their couch. And the writer says this experience inspired him to write the novel, and the experience also showed the modern indifference between humans. And we think this is related with the concept alienation. Next page.
In the story, there are two obvious metaphors that have a connection to alienation. First, the dead wall, which Bartleby was always staring at. In our point of view, we think the dead wall is an irony of Wall Street as well as the capitalism. The dead wall represents the indifference of people who are told to be earnest and live in a competition. The dead wall also has the meaning of no ideal dreams and future. When we look out the window, we might expect to see a beautiful scenery and have our mind relax. Eventually, we regain hope and energy by doing so. It means positiveness. However, Bartleby was alienated. Out of his window is the dead wall. After mechanically doing the right thing, Bartleby has nothing to do, only vacantly staring at the wall, as if he is a machine. No command, no target. Next page. The dead wall could also mean the confinement of Bartleby's free spirit. If he was not totally alienated, his looking out the window can be translated to his asking for help to escape the suffocating capitalism. Maybe he tried, but it always turned out useless. Herman Melville Use the dead wall to portray the background of 1850s, that people are indifferent to each other and work mechanically. Most important of all, people in that time were confined both physically and mentally. They can barely see their future. Next page. The other symbol is Bartleby's previous job in the dead letter office. The dead letter is the letter which cannot send to its intended destination. The Bartleby is the one who turned them into ashes. The reason why this metaphor has connection to alienation is the dead letter could represent the people in capitalism. As the story says, dead letters. Does it not sound like dead men? And can any business seem more fitted to heighten it than that of continually handing this data? Those who are not productive or have a destination are not allowed to be existed and finally got banished by the society. Next page.
Okay, here I want to say that the story shows the resisting of alienation. In the beginning of the story, he acts like a machine, processing large amount of the documents silently, and without any reaction belong to human being. He had already been alienated and lost humanity. Just like the people at that time who dominated by capitalism. Every connection is built on benefit and money. The society always showed the fierce indifference and alienation. For example, in the office, the lawyer separated everyone's pay so as to keep a distance. Despite the influence of alienation, Bartleby still showed his resistance. I would prefer not to. He rejected the old lawyer requests over and over again, as if he was saying no to the society. Then he put himself into isolation. But his rejection seems so but his but his rejection seems so pale and weak. Ironically, even his refusal was like a machine, which is dumb and repetitive. As time went by, the frequency of I would prefer not to became higher and higher. Finally, he decided not to copy the document anymore. That is, he was going to fight against the society of alienation completely. But where can you go? He can only stay at the office and finally put into the prison. He created as human being. But nothing of Wall Street is warm and energetic. He can never get out of the world of alienation. So the greater despair trapped him. In the end, he was forced to become a wanderer.
Okay, next is the conclusion. Next page. Okay. It was the job that chronically killed Bartleby's inner soul. His emotion were eliminated. Through the sorrow understanding the cruelty of capitalism, he gave up resisting and turned into one of the victim of capitalism and a passive working machine. Completely alienated he was. He died. The last sentence, oh, Bartleby, oh, humanity. The humanity in this alienated world was so snobbish and fragile that Herman Melville couldn't help but write the story to mourn the society. Thank you.